Imagine a league built by the people, for the people. A league dedicated to the economic development of your city. So the question becomes, how good are the 32 teams that play in the minor football league? Well, there's only one way to find out. You have to experience the MFL.
Welcome to another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Richard Miles Sr., founder, chairman, and chief CEO of the Minor Football League. I want to welcome y'all. It's a great Wednesday. Still, I want everybody still to be careful. You know, this pandemic is serious, and also I want everybody to be careful out there. I know everybody out there protesting against that terrible atrocity happened. But then again, remember, that's been happening to people of color for years. And now I hope that they really understand what we go through as people of color. Also, I want people to understand the fact that they did get a verdict on that. It came back that hopefully they'll be charged with murder one, first-degree murder, as opposed to murder, it give me a little tongue-tied when I start talking about that, because it's a shame how we being treated. But then again, I want everybody to understand that hopefully, y'all stay out of harm's way. Don't get yourself caught up in anything that will hurt you in terms of people, because we have a lot of instigators mixed in with the crowd of people in the D.C. and around the country that's not from the community. So be careful and be mindful of people out there that doing things that they shouldn't be doing, like burning and looting, because that's not us. We don't want that to interfere with what we're really out there protesting about. We don't want them to change all of that and start bringing in federal troops, because that's something, our president want to do, which I think is wrong. But then again, we understand that for the most part, everybody is doing peaceful demonstrations. And I want to say hats off to the gentleman down off of 14th Street, 15th Street, that allowed the young protesters the opportunity to get in his house so they wouldn't be arrested and the police beating on them. I know they got their job, but they have to be understanding that, although you got a job, but you still remember the Constitution say you have freedom of assembly and speech. Don't take that away from people, because when you do that, then what we going to say this country all balling down to? I got my great guest today, Mr. Kenny Lucas, here with us today, and I appreciate your time. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I hear you now. Fine. I'm doing fine. Hey, wait a minute. I thought we stopped the beard thing now.
No, not yet.
I'm going to have to go back.
Yeah, not yet. We're still going.
Okay, I'm
still going strong right now.
Okay, all right. Because I'm getting ready to, go back. My grandkid told me, say, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. So how you doing, Coach? And
I'm doing well.
Of course, we're always glad to have you on. Kind of give us a little insight on what's going on. And we're getting mixed signals before we go outside of the MFL because of what's going on with the other professional leagues. Hopefully they understand that this is dangerous. And, we know the bottom line is money, but, I don't think lives can be measured. And that's something that I hear on a lot of, different sports shows. They keep talking about they looting and burning. But what about a man lost his life? I mean, so you telling me what that's more valuable than someone's life? And then you have to understand that you got insurance on that stuff, So come on, that can be replaced. Innocent life can't be, Coach.
No, I agree, and I hear what you're saying. I mean, none of it's necessary. We know that. Certainly, no one's life is worth losing, no matter what that individual may or may not have done. And certainly, the chain of events that have occurred over the last couple of weeks are all wrong. However, as they say, grandma used to say, two wrongs don't make a right. So, we as human beings have to be also careful. Let's certainly demonstrate and let's protest. But there's certainly a way we can do it peacefully. Dr. Martin Luther King, advocated for peaceful protesting, and there's been many others. Jesse Jackson over the years, Al Sharpton. I mean, there's a whole list of names that we can run down who advocate for different occurrences. However, they certainly advocate for those things to be done, justly, but also to be done, somewhat quietly and without conflict. So, we just need to be careful, because, when we think about the looting and the things of that nature, now you're taking away from someone else. So you're doing the same thing that you're protesting about. So humans need to be careful about destroying others' property first and foremost, because those people that own those businesses, let's face it, they've worked very hard, I'm sure, to establish those businesses, and to have it, just taken away from them because of another situation doesn't make it right nor just. So, again, I think we need to protest, and certainly, protesting has been going on for a long while, and we need to continue it, until a remedy is had. But, we just need to figure out and continue to try to do it a better way.
And, sometimes, and just, if I may, just, let me just hang around this subject for a few minutes, if I may. But when is enough though. I mean, it seems to be, I'm an old guy. And when you look at back in the 62 and up to 68, wasn't we not doing the same thing, as for the same equality and things of that nature that we did back there in 60? I know I was in elementary school back in 68. But we asked for the same thing and we got nothing. And I always say, if you don't learn by history, history will repeat itself. So, I mean, help me because I'm one of them kids that come out of, I was back there then. So I can tell you that it seemed like the same old show, just on a different channel.
Well, I mean, I agree. And protesting has been going on for years, and hopefully it continues. You ask, well, when is enough enough? I mean, until it's done, it's got to continue. So I think, humans have to keep pushing. No remedy has been had, to ask whether progress has been had. I think, to a very, very small degree, there's been some improvements in human nature and the way persons of colors have been treated. But yes, it's still going on. And I'm not trying to make light of this or belittle this subject, but has it lessened? I think that's what we need to look at too. We need to observe, has it changed from the way it was 50 years ago? And I think we all could probably agree, yes, to some degree. I'm not saying it's fixed and it's where it should be. It's far from where it should be. But has there been any advancement in terms of the way people of color have and are treated? I would say yes, but there are some certainly lingering aspects of this subject that are still very prevalent today. So, I think the protesting has to continue. That's the only way you're going to get results, is to keep pushing. You can't just sit there and hope and pray on it. You got to pray on it, but you can't just hope that there's going to be change. You have to continue to push for change until it gets to that point when change occurs.
Well, you always been the type to take the high road. I don't know about me now. I understand positions we're in, being former athletes and, fathers and, of sons and daughters. I mean, we have to say, it may be new to them, but we've seen this. And the most frightening thing about it is, I would say, has measures been taken? Yes and no. I think the only thing that really makes it different is the technology, because what we know been going on for years, now you're able to capture it on your phone. So, and even then they challenged that. They were saying, how can they say the man just died? People die from different ailments. You don't just die, especially when someone had their foot on their knee on your throat. So I'm just saying, and then you got a lot of current players that's saying some things that I'm disturbed by. I was disturbed by some of the comments of former players making, Now, Cabinet took a knee, no violence or nothing. You would think, and if they had their way, they would have hung him. Now, you get one of the Bosa brothers, you know, he makes all these crazy statements and stuff. That he's a radical, and he let you know that he's a racist. I mean, point blank, but they play it down. But I'm not accepting of that. He's a plain outright racist, and he wants you to know it, and they downplay it. But when one of us say something of a color, oh, we racist, we doing that. This guy should not be playing in the National Football League. I'm gonna just tell you that straight up. And I'm not one to be taking somebody's livelihood. But if you read all the comments that he made and stuff, he gonna call Kaepernick a jerk and some of the things that he said. Come on now, coach. Come on now. I mean, how long do we have to take the high road?
Well, unfortunately, and it is unfortunate that we do have to take the high road. That's the only way we're going to have success. That's the only way that we're going to have progress is continue to take the high road. You know, fighting fire with fire. No battle is going to be won that way. I hear what you're saying, and I agree. You know, Kaepernick did what he did, and now it's coming to fruition. We see what he was getting at, what he was trying to do. The people that talk against that, they have their right to their own opinion. It doesn't make it right. I haven't heard all those comments that Bosa may have made, so I can't really speak to that. I know, you know, what Kaepernick did, he did because it was in his heart to do that. And now we see some further issues for what he was trying to fight for. And it's our reality right now. It's 2020, and we're still having to face these challenges. You know, so yes, we have to continue to fight, but, you know, to what extent? You know, to what extent do we want to start throwing sticks and stones and fighting, you know, in that manner? Yes, technology is prevalent. So it's now showing these things that have been occurring over the years, much more than we may have seen and or heard in years past. But what do we do on the other side of this thing? And you know, I understand where you're coming from, and it's very frustrating for all of us. But again, to go and to start something physical, is that going to satisfy the issue? Is that going to remedy the big picture? And in my personal opinion, I'm going to stay on the high road and say no. Fighting fire with fire. You know, we got to figure out a way to fight, but we got to figure out a way to fight so that we get results, not just to further extend and or compound the issue that is at hand right now.
You know, I always say you could have been a great diplomat. You know, me on the other side, I'm somewhat different. Although we cut from the same cloth, I'm a little different than most people. And the reason I say that is, you know, I was a great coach, a high school coach I had by the name of Bob Hedden. You know, as a freshman on the football team, and he said something. He said, you know, you meet force with force. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. You know, that kind of make people, you know, but if you're going to keep, I'm not one to turn the other cheek. I'm not going to let you slap the first cheek. That's just me. That's the cloth that I'm cut from. But I believe in, and I'm not going to change my mind. A lot of people might not agree with me, and a lot of people will agree with me. That's my opinion. You know, we got to understand that this the United States of America. We don't want to say it's the United. We don't want to say it's the home of the Constitution. I want it to be the home of the Constitution. You know, it's a difference there. Constitution and Constitution. When I want people to understand that. But I'm one to feel that, you know, I can't keep letting you knock me down, coach. And then I'm gonna get up and fight, but I'm not gonna let you knock me down when I can prevent that. And sometimes, you know, I use the term, when are we gonna get sick and tired of being sick and tired? I'm to the point. I seen the 60s. I was a young child there. I seen the things that happened. I came up through the 70s. As you know, the age, you know, I don't really see things, the changes that should be made. You have a lot of people of color in position, and I'm just calling them out. They have to stop being gatekeepers for the establishment, because that's what it is, really. And if you don't speak on this, I think everybody has a platform, should say something. Because when you don't say anything, then you saying it's all right. It's all right, you know. Well, because all right, it's all right. Our kid, we're standing on people's shoulders. You know that, Coach. We stand on people's shoulders that made it possible for us to be able to do a show like this, to own the league that I own. We are standing on people's shoulders. Our kids looking at us and they wondering, do we respect them? Not only as my father because they made a difference. I got 17 grandkids. This cost me too much. Cost me a marriage and everything. I want my grandkids to be able to say, I stood on my granddad's shoulders. I'm here, I'm standing on his shoulder because he did not retreat. You know what I mean? And it's hard for everybody to sit here and say that it's okay. Somebody got to take a stand. And when you take a stand, how you want to be remembered? What is your legacy? Do you want to go on your knees or on your feet? I prefer to be on my feet because we have people watching us. We have young people watching us. You think they're not watching us, and they're looking, they're crying out, who's going to lead us? Who is going to lead us? And I understand the pressure it puts on people that do take the lead, but you think about the people that took the lead before. You think they really wanted to put themselves in harm's way and say, okay, I'm going to take a lead, but we can't, somebody gonna have to do something. You have people saying things and not checked. You know what I mean? They're not checked. I mean, how can this guy playing in the National Football League said the things that he said and nothing done? You look at his, I mean, now one of us did that. You know, you look at Kaepernick got in trouble for taking a knee. The people tried to follow him, took a lead, it cost them their careers and money. A lot of guys are gatekeepers. If we don't stand collectively, man, you know, if we don't stand together, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. And right now, we just have people that do not want to stand together. They worry about their career. They worry about their money. I never seen a hearse. I never seen a Briggs truck behind a hearse. And I've never seen that. And I don't think you have and nobody else. Meaning you can't take it with you to the grave. Why don't you have some players standing up? But a lot of players, it's a no-show. I'm mad on this show, my platform, I'm going to use it. The church is religious. When I was young, the religion factor, you know, churches, they would be out on the front lines when it was when you have people doing wrong about community. They're not there. Ask yourself why they're not there. Why they're not there. You know what I mean? So this kind of get me upset because they're not on the front line. They're not taking the lead. Why is that? Because of faith-based programs. They do not want to jeopardize getting their money for their programs. So therefore, what was the church and the barbershop was the most strongest entities in the black community? Because we used to call the barbershop a black man country club. You can go there and talk about, am I right around, Coach? You can go talk about all the every kind of issue you want to talk about, be it sports, be it political. Now it's gone. You know, these are some of the things that I'm a little mad about, and I'm not afraid to stand up. You know, I've always been one of the type of guy. But fortunately, I do have friends like you would say, Miles, hold it, take. But sometimes, when are we going to unite? People of color is the only race in the world that never united. Never. Even the Native American Indians say, okay, we're going to take this one last battle, and we're going to all join together for this one last battle. And what they do, you know, if you go back to the history, they didn't care because what they had, the 7 cavalry, General Custer was invincible. But when Sitting Bull and then pull everybody together, say for this last battle, because you can't push us back no more. It's no more. You can't push us no further than we are, and we're gonna fight. That shook everybody up. Oh, we got to do something. We got to make peace. You know, that's what I'm saying about people of color. When are we going to stand and fight? When are we going to stand? And I don't mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want people to say, pick up weapons, go out there and do stuff. But you know what I mean? In a diplomatic way, when are we going to stand up and fight? When are we going to stand up?
Well, that's my point as well. And right. And that's all I was saying a little while ago is that that's the way we need to do it. You know, you briefly alluded to the looting and some of those types of things that are occurring on. Those things are negative things that aren't going to solve our problems right now. out, much like you're saying now, we have to stand together. There has to be a larger conglomerate of individuals standing together. And I think what you're seeing today and what we're seeing on the news and everywhere else, now you're starting to get other ethnicities joining in along with people of color. So that may be the start of that turning point, because now we have others that are joining forces. So now you're going to get larger masses. You're going to get larger crowds. You're going to get bigger voices, and maybe even get more influential voices. I think the churches are still there. They're trying to do their part. Maybe some have taken a step back, but you still have individuals that are very concerned about the state of our country right now, and the state of what's going on in terms of humans. This is a humanistic problem right now. I understand it's certainly about people of color, but this is just human problems right now, and just in terms of abuse, in terms of what's going on, by police officers and others. I mean, it's not, let's face it, not just police officers. There's all kinds of abuse going on in large corporations. There's a lot of facets of things that are inequitable and that are unfair, that are taking place each and every day, that don't even come close to hitting the news. So let's talk about trying to fix a human problem in terms of taking advantage of opportunities and situations. But we have to fight a certain way. That was my point, is that picking up a stick, throwing a rock through a store, what kind of signal is that really sending? We're not making progress by doing it that way. Yes, we must stand. I agree with you wholeheartedly there. And there has to be a sounding board, and there has to be a sounding force that has to stand up collectively to start to even to make a dent in some type of a change. But those individuals that think the looting, and I get it, you're frustrated, and when people are frustrated, they do crazy things. But we have to temper our behaviors, to the degree that we want to go and fight, but fight with words and fight with strategies, fight with things that become more tangible, that will start to help to make change, because that's what we all know, that's what's needed. Change has to occur, but strategy needs to be discussed and implemented in order for some of this change to start.
I sit here and we go back and forth, and what I have all the respect in the world for you, and as I do with everybody else, the part of MFL, but I'm who I am. I'm just who I am.
You should remain that way.
But people are not going to follow you if you're not strong. And although we have other nationalities as well that join in, but they're not going to fight this for us. Okay, you'll get all the aid in the world will come, but they'll tell you in a minute, we're not going to fight for you. If you lead, we'll follow. But don't expect us to lead you in this, when it's your fight. All I'm saying is, when are we going to get some leaders to say, okay, this is how we're going to do it? Mr. Farrakhan, a lot of respect for him, a lot of respect for some of our Black leaders. But we are yet to get together in a common bond to understand this is what we have to do. We can't agree on nothing, because when you have too many hands in the stew, it spoils it. Okay, someone have to take the lead. We have to cut this jealousy mess out. Who's getting more pub and who's leading what, for a good cause, and understanding it's for the betterment of Black people in general. I feel for all the other nationalities, people of color in general, excuse me, but I'm concerned with my people. That scare a lot of people when we talk about our people. We're not supposed to do that. No burning and looting, but that is a no-no to me. But America is built on the bottom line. Let's just face that. They don't seem to understand or act like they understand you unless it's hitting them in their pocket. Dr. Martin Luther King did something that everybody thought was crazy when he started the boycott of the buses. Everybody say, well, why would that hurt them? That hurt us. But he said something that everybody forgot. We're the ones riding the buses. Rich white people ain't riding no buses. It's the poor Black people riding the buses. Now, that didn't come to a conclusion because they was arguing about different, you know, civil rights issues and what wasn't fair. What hurt them was the fact that what hurt them, the fact that they was the fact that hurt them was the fact that, wait a minute, ain't nobody getting on these buses. We ain't making no money. When they realized that the decline of bus ridership went down possibly to zero, then they had to tell them, we got to get these people back at the table. We got to give them what they want because they are the ones who spending the money. In these stores, people of color are the biggest consumers in America. We have nothing to show for it. $2 trillion a year come to our hands. We own no banks, okay? We own no stores. You got everybody. We're spending our, which is who you spend your money with is who you get your power to. We yet to get understanding where we're going to spend our money. You spend your money everywhere else and then it's gone. We have no banks. We have no stores. You know, why is that? And we the biggest spenders in America, Coach. I mean, think about all that money. $2 trillion. I was in a conversation a couple of weeks with some people that got mad with me because I said, they said, well, they never gave us our 40 acres and 2 mules. I said, we don't need 40 acres and 2 mules. What? Why you say that? I said, you ain't gonna do but give it back to them. The stimulus money came out and everybody was happy about it. They gave it right back. They gave the checks out on Wednesday. They opened back up in Atlanta and they was broke Sunday. Come on now. When are we going to understand this how you heard them? I agree with you. Sticks and bottles against guns. That's the old saying we say you never go to a gunfight with a knife. But understanding you have all this money. You have this power. You have power that you don't know that you have, but yet and still we squander it. We got this, Coach, and we have young people. I love these millennials now because they shot, but they need to be led. They crying out, lead us. We will follow. But understand they have the technology, they're smart enough, but they need somebody to lead them. If you lead me, they're saying we will follow and we will help. But right now, if you're not going to lead us, then we're not going to fight because we teaching them the wrong thing. We teaching them to say, hey, we can take it. We'll wait next year, next generation. Come on now. How many generations that came and gone and we're still doing the same thing? These young people, now, if you don't lead them now, you're talking about they think they're having problems now? Technology is something. My little grandkids can use this computer better than me, Coach. They understand the terminology of it. Now they put phones in their hands. When we was coming up, there was a typewriter. I was terrible at typewriter. You know what I mean? Now your computer spell for you. Come on now. True. I wouldn't have to do the stuff that I had to do to get to school. The computer, you type this up, you can hit spell check. I'm telling you now, they need to be led. And if you don't lead them the right way, they go in the wrong way. That's why I'm so passionate about this. And we have to, people that have platforms got to understand that we got to lead them, man. If we don't lead them and don't stand up, then they will not have no respect for this generation. There's kids came up behind. I was a little reluctant to respect the Martin Luther Kings in them of the world because I only seen them as turning their cheeks. But they were smart enough, and then I learned as I got older, it was the right way to go. But these kids nowadays, these youngins nowadays, they are too smart, they're too advanced, and only a matter of time before they say, okay, they don't have the guts to lead us, we got to go.
Again, I mean, and some of that comes from putting the right people in those power places. So now it goes back to voting. I mean, we need, I say we, society needs enough individuals right now to be able to vote the right people in those high positions. So the right statements and the correct leader can be there in place to lead. But that goes back to now, and it's always some trickle domino effect here, and it starts from the bottom. So now you got to go back and say, why aren't guys voting? How are you going to make more people vote? The more votes you get, the more opportunities for you to vote for those individuals that you want to vote for. That's first and foremost. So you talk about putting the right having the right leaders in place, the only way those leaders are going to get there is to have people vote for those leaders. So people have to be educated more, and they need to be taught more and see examples more of who they should be voting for and having the opportunity to vote for those individuals. So now the people that you say should be out front are there. Because if obviously those people that we want there are not there in place right now, so how do we get them there? That's the conversation that needs to be had. We got to scale back and we got to take it out. When you say necessarily one step at a time, but you got to start with the foundation, and then you got to build upon that foundation. So it starts in terms of how to vote, who votes, who are we voting for, why are we voting for? Will that person be in a position of power? Will that person be able to make decisions that affect the whole, or that affect a certain population? You know, you talked about these businesses. We're not shopping these businesses. The fortunate part, Miles, here is that some of these businesses that are being damaged right now are minority-owned businesses. So we can say, you know, we throw a rock through that window because, you know, or stop shopping there. But some of these businesses now are minority-owned businesses. So that's my point in that, you know, people want to loot and they want to do this and do that. Well, now you're kind of hurting those that were afforded an opportunity to advance themselves, which ultimately can help advance others. But now you're pulling them right back down, because now you're taking away from their hard-earned monies, their hard-earned labor, you know, whatever it took for them to reach that point that they were able to open up a store and have a marketable enterprise. Now you're setting them back. So ultimately, you're setting them back. You're setting yourself back as well. And that's my only point there about the looting and that sort of thing, is that we just got to be careful, because now, you know, all businesses are being hurt, you know, whether they're minority owned or not. And some of these businesses you may frequently, yeah, I understand. You don't get on the bus and there's nobody on that bus, then, you know, the bus company is going to be hurting and looking for some money at some point in time. So now they got to figure out a way to get you back. Well, it's the same thing with these stores. But if these stores are minority owned now, they may not have the opportunity to recover. That it may be a one-shot deal for some of these businesses, and all they had, they put in the pot all at once. They may not have the opportunity to recover. Yeah, I know insurance, but as we know, insurance is not always equitable. And due to the nature in which businesses sometimes are lost, they don't have that opportunity to recover from that. So we just need to be careful. You know, yes, we need stronger leaders in a lot of positions and a lot of things in terms of what we're doing in this day and age. We talked about technology, Miles, you know, with these kids. Yeah, they're powerful. They got the whole world in their hands right now with cell phones, laptops, you know, iPads, all this digital age. Now it has to be used the right way. And unfortunately, it's not always done so. So again, it starts with the people at the top. Let's find ways, and it's going to. I can't tell you it's going to be an easy fix. I wish it was an easy fix, but we all know that there's not an easy fix right now, and everything that's done is going to be a process. I mean, we are in the United States of America. It's going to be a process, but we have to stay steadfast. We got to keep pushing, and we got to find strategies that's going to help us make better progress. And do it faster if possible. But understand there is going to be a process that's going to be endured to try to get things to wherever you want. I say you, I'm just using that term loosely, wherever you want things to be. Understand there's a way that it has to be done. And is there a right way? Is there a wrong way? People are going to argue for and against that, you know, but nonetheless, there's got to be a push. There's got to be voices, not just a voice. There has to be voices that go out and command and demand things to change. And there's got to be some financial backing, as we know. You know, there's got to be numbers. You know, there's a lot of things that go into the whole potential of remedying whatever the situation may be. It's not just one element. There's multiple things that have to occur.
And who's going to tell our story? We have so much trust between us as a people and our leaders, and I don't want to deal with the history. You know, I want to deal with the history. You know, we don't want them to tell his story. You know what I mean? We want them to tell history. And right now, we have a lot of things to do in terms of cleaning up our own house. And what I mean by that is so much distrust between us, we as a people, and it's well warranted. But what do we go from? What do we go from here? I'm worried. I'm worried to the fact that my mind with being a father and you know and a grandfather and you know like I say, this cost me a marriage. What I'm doing here now, it cost me a marriage, a great marriage. I was there, you know, for a long time, but because when I took the initiative and said, okay, you know, thank you for allowing me to do what I'm doing. But even at a point, they got tired. They said, wait a minute, this is enough. This is enough. Can't go do this no more. Did the college, the pro, all that stuff. Don't want to do this no more. Because we looking at somebody has to take the lead. What I'm doing now with the league, people just beginning to understand what we're doing. Mr. Lucas, people just begin. We have had more inquiries about the MFL since this COVID virus started than we ever had, because now we had the opportunity to prepare even better. Now people have an opportunity to say, wait a minute, we didn't know about this. You know, oh, well, now we getting, what can we do to help? Something that I never thought that I would hear, which is welcoming. But I'm fortunate enough to see Martin Luther King march, although I was small. I'm fortunate enough to see something I thought I would never see, an African-American in the White House. Okay, we have made strides, but it's not enough. You know what I mean? That's like sitting me at the table and tell me, smell the steak, but you can't eat it. You know what I mean? This is unacceptable to me. It's unacceptable. Right now, sports, everybody, you know, what are we doing? We was the first to say the MFL will not go in 2020. We was the first to do that. Although other people say it now, people saying, okay, since all this right, maybe we can play this. You know, maybe we can do this. I myself, the owner of this league, we will not go. We will not do it because that COVID-19 is for real, Coach. And
sure.
I know, you know, people are still dying from this. And they're talking about football again and basketball again, Coach. I'm confused to understand what that we are. Give me your view on that. I mean, is it feasible to do this? I don't think so. I think a lot of young men are going to die, and I just don't think that, you know, the NFL, they do what they want, the NBA and the NCAA, but we know it's even rumbling within their ranks and stuff. We are a sports show. We are inside the MFL, but we do talk about what's going on in the world of sports as a whole. Give me your take, Coach, on these decisions that they're making, because they are going to affect people around the world.
Oh, I mean, without a doubt, all decisions that are made on those levels are definitely going to have a trickle effect on, you know, with others and the rest of us in this society. You know, sports are great, and you know, I think we have to admit that athletics and sports do drive a great bit of society. They drive a great bit of what goes on in this world. I mean, you see it when the Olympics is on, you know, whatever.
And you know they shut that down, Coach.
Yes.
Yeah, you know they shut it down.
Absolutely.
That tells you this is serious.
Right, but my point is that when the Olympics are on, there's a large percentage of the population that shut down what they're doing and they watch it and they follow it because it's entertaining to them, it's educational to some, but there's a huge following for sports and athletics. The NFL, NBA, you know, Major League Baseball, you know, PGA, LPGA, you know, all of these athletic entities are entertainers and educators across the world. People look up to those entities. People enjoy watching those entities. And let me, I'm going to pause or kind of interject another element. Sports and athletics is one of the greatest integrations of human beings on this earth right now. Mm-hmm. There is no color in sports.
Right. And it's universal. Bring it all together. Right.
There is none. So that's one of the reasons why, one, it's important. I'm not saying it should start right away, but that's why people are yearning for it. That's why people want it back so badly without even knowing. And sometimes, some
Even if it
places,
kill them.
that's what they know. They know it's good. They know it's positive. And people want that. Now, I'm not saying lives should be risked for it. I don't agree with things opening up so soon, but I know nothing in comparison to some of these people in this world. I'm just me. I can make my statement because I can. Freedom of speech. I don't think things should open right now. We still are trying to figure this virus out. Doctors, the medical personnel, they're still trying to figure out all the elements of COVID-19 out. We still are relatively clueless. So why jump into something so quickly? I think what people are doing, though, is trying to put themselves in a position to restart once there is a better handle on it, hopefully, and not just jumping out there with both feet saying, we're going to go regardless. I think there are meetings happening daily, certainly weekly, in the athletics realm where people are trying to put their heads together. The powers to be are trying to put their heads together to see what's going to make the most sense. And hopefully they're also considering everyone's safety. I think that's the first piece that they need to understand and need to be considerate of is people's safety. Those that are actively participating, as well as those like you and I that are watching from afar. And maybe even closer in some cases. So it's not a great time, obviously, to say, let's go do this. You can't right now because there's too many elements, too many humanistic factors that are uncontrollable right now. As they say, control the controllables. Well, there's a lot of things going on with this virus right now that we have no control over right now. Man does not have control over any of this stuff right now. We need to rely on a higher being. God is in control still each and every day. And we have to remember that we're just here. We have no say in any of this. So man can throw out his wishes, his dreams, his speculations, but man is not controlling anything that's going on right now. NFL, if they decide to resume this fall, then hopefully they've done as much homework as they could, as much deliberations as they could to make it as safe as possible for those involved, whether spectators, players, officials, administrators, whomever. I just hope they do their due diligence to make sure that the things that they can control are controlled, and then let nature take its course from there. But again, I think some of these realms are rushing things just a little bit just to try to get it going. But what we also have to remember, and this is the way society in this world is right now, a lot of it's money driven. And I think you made a point earlier, at what point do we not care? When does money become a little less significant to us? Well, money is running this world. I mean, we know that. And that's why some of these people can make the statements they make. And that's why they can make the decisions they make. And that's why they want to make the decisions that they make, because of the amount of monies. And people, we have to admit, there's a greed. People are greedy. So they want to make sure, if it's concerning their money, they want that money to keep coming in. And some people, as we know, will do anything at all costs to try to make it happen. So I just pray, every day that, once these decisions are made, that things are at a point where they're as safe as possible. And I think that's all we can ask. Spectators, we love the game. We miss the game. Obviously, potentially not having a football season this fall directly affects me because it's my love. And, I love this game and it's what I do. And it's a huge part of my life. So it's going to impact me personally. But I can get over that because I'm more concerned about my life, and those others that are around me in their lives, and those young men that I help to guide and instruct each and every day. I'm more concerned about their lives. And this is going to sound a little crazy, but even those rising seniors who may miss out on an opportunity to play, initially in their senior year, we'll figure something out. Colleges will work something out if senior high school guys are not able to get out there and participate this fall. Something will occur to give them an opportunity to still showcase themselves and an opportunity to go play on the next level. So I think things will be working. There's going to be a lot of adjustments. There's going to be a new normal, coming here down the road. There already is. There's going to be some precedent set as we continue to move forward through this pandemic. We just need to be patient right now. Stay steadfast, but be patient and let nature run its course.
And also, Great, Coach. I mean, a great analogy. But also, do we hold sports as a whole? Do we hold them accountable? And what I mean by that is the fact that football, I'm in the business of that, as you know, of course, but not
Sure.
at people's lives. But should football, or should I say sports as a whole, be held accountable for this? Because they understand what this would do. Football is the only thing, I mean, sports, let me not limit it to football. Sports is the only denominator that you don't have to really like each other to play together. You know what I mean? You do your job, you go on your way, because I'm guilty of that myself. I didn't necessarily like a particular person, but we played ball. We played on the field together that day. He went there where I went my way. But should they be accountable for it? Should they be accountable for the fact that these young people are going out there in all these different sports? And should they be held to a standard where they need to be more mindful and more concerned about these young people that's playing in these different sports arenas and there's different sports leagues? Should they be accountable for this as a whole?
Well, I mean, to say should they be accountable? I mean, again, I think we have to understand they're not acting on this alone. They're not making these decisions solely by themselves. They certainly are consulting, I believe, with the medical field. I'm hopeful, because otherwise you got lawsuits and other types of things on their hands. So I'm sure they're consulting with the medical field each and every day, trying to get the best case scenarios, trying to get as much positive and constructive feedback as they possibly can. So I would think that they're doing their due diligence. I'm going to just go out there on a limb and say I think they are trying to do their due diligence to make sure that what they're doing it for the right reasons and doing it the right way. I can't imagine, in spite of all the money that may be involved, that these people, in athletics are just making these decisions by themselves. I'm pretty certain, there's others that are being consulted with regard to the decisions that they're making. Again, and a lot of what they do is done publicly anyway, so we probably hear more than what we need to hear, and there's other times we're not hearing some of the things that we probably should hear. So again, I'm going to remain positive and say that I'm hopeful that they are consulting and receiving advice from those that have more information on where we are right now, and in terms of them moving forward, how fast, how soon, and in which way. So again, I'd say to hold them responsible. Yeah, I think, they have to be responsible, accountable, but I don't think they're doing this, by themselves. I think there's others that are involved, and when and if these final decisions are made, they would have done all of their homework and feel very, very comfortable that they can control things to whatever degree, hopefully that maximizes, the opportunity for it to happen in the safest possible manner.
And, before we move away from this and take these few more minutes, talk about the MFL, because we are inside the MFL and I'm about the business of MFL. Hopefully they have to understand the fact that if some lives are lost because of this decision, then who's to blame? Then they're going to say, well, I think it would have a snowball effect, because a lot of people will say they shouldn't have played and they did. I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask you to comment on that, but I always look at, no matter how many lives is lost because of this, don't care how much money you make, then that's a mother, a father, a sister, a brother. Someone lost a loved one because they went out there because people put dollars over a person's life. So that's what, I'll let you chime in on that real quick. That's what I'm concerned about.
I hear you. I think, of course, there's always that risk that if
and is it worth it?
Right.
Would
No,
you think it's worth it?
I mean, first and foremost, I'm going to say no, it's not worth it. You talk about a human life. I don't think
There you
human
go.
life is worth that at all.
There's no price. Yeah.
No price you can put on a human life like that. But I think, these businesses, these entities, at some point, they're going to make a decision. As I just stated a few minutes ago, I'm just hopeful that once that decision is made, that they have laid everything out on the table. They've shuffled it around, tweaked it, massaged
Kicked
it,
it,
and
knocked it off the table.
picked it back up and done everything they could to make sure that they have eliminated as much as they can eliminate in terms of a worry factor. There's always a worry element, just in sports as a whole. But considering, that this medical phenomena, for lack of a better word, this pandemic that we're in, I just hope that folks are doing their due diligence and making sure that when they do restart, I mean, it's no different than, counties and states and cities opening back up right now. Hopefully those powers to be are sitting there and they're exploring everything. People are in a hurry to try to get back to normal. I think what people are feeling and realize it's going to be a new normal. There already is a new normal. So,
right.
But some people don't understand what that means. That picture is not very clear right now in terms of what that new normal is, nor what that new normal is going to be. So it's all a process right now. Again, I know very little, Miles. I'm just
we're not doctors, but we just
not even close. Not even close. I haven't got my ED yet. I got my master's, but I didn't get my doctor's yet. But I may have to consider that. But it just, it's a time right now where there's so many unknowns right now. I just think, society, we have to take it step by step. Yeah, we got to push forward, and everybody wants things to get back the way they were. I think, we may have to realize that it may never be the way it was. There's going to be a new. And we have to accept that, but let's do that, constructively. Let's do it, with the utmost concern for human life. And I think anything we do as we move forward, human life certainly needs to be taken into consideration before decisions are made to, no matter how much money may be involved on the other side.
Well, as usual, you always come with the voice of reasoning, conversation wise, but get into matters of the MFL. You're watching Inside the MFL, and you can always reach us on our website. Is inside MFLishere.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. These are all the platforms that we're on. Always also. And we're also on YouTube. The show, we come on twice a week, Wednesdays from 5 to 6, and on Fridays from 5 to 6, Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock, Inside the MFL. Also, I want people to know we are registering players now, Coach, right now, for the players. Hopefully, we're, we got everything in place. We're not going to go 2020, which, Coach, but I know you've been, we telling people, but we will hopefully around August, if the CDC says safe, then we will just start the combine, but we'll do with the positioning combine, we'll go with the linemen and start. But you can register now on our website. And as you know, we're doing that. We have a dance team. We get ready to register for that. Also, is opportunity here for coaching. If you want to intern coach here, Coach Luke could be give you some pointers on that, because we are taking interns for coaching, and we do have a few more positions opening for GM positioning, also in marketing, PR, broadcast journalists, trainers. So we want people to know this is not a second chance league. We're first time league. We don't believe in that second chance stuff, but we want people to understand that we will go 2021, and we're excited about that because we did put stuff on hold. A lot of people were a little upset because, as you know, we are going to Africa, and they was all ready. But like I say, wins. I always say wins come and go, but I'm yet to see a win to stay. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So just telling everybody that a part of the MFL Nation that we're doing some great things here, and we want people to understand and experience the MFL. We have some great people aboard. here that making this thing go. It's not all me. And I appreciate all the staff that I have here with me, along with Coach Lucas always come in and in the capacity he are doing the consulting for the MFL, and we're glad to have it. I know you have a few things to say, and I know I kept you longer than I posed it. I appreciate you coming on, Coach, but I need you. Like they say, I gotta have somebody on here with me because I go off, Coach. So give us your little input, little consulting part about the MFL and how people can reach you, Coach.
Well, just obviously what you're doing is a good thing. I think you definitely made the right decision in terms of canceling the 2020 season. It's no way it can be done nor done well in 2020. Looking at 2021, I think you're setting yourself up for great success. It gives the league an opportunity to continue to grow. I think the move that is occurring with respect to moving to Africa, it now gives that start a greater foundation, gives them a greater opportunity for success and to hit the ground running in 2021. So, I'm excited to see, to continue to watch what you're doing right now. All the staff that, as you alluded to, that's helping you make this change. I think it's going to be very interesting. But I think young men, first and foremost, are going to have another opportunity to showcase their talent. And I think that's what this league is all about. As you talk about it, the league just being a laboratory of change and an opportunity for young men to grow, not just on the field, but off the field, in terms of having coaches, having owners now run their own entities. And I just think it's a great opportunity for everyone to exercise a great deal of success and to continue learning in the sport that they enjoy.
And Coach, you've been coaching for a long while in terms of in college ranks as well as high school. You're doing a great job, and I know everybody out here watching. I get a little comment. Everybody know you. I think they were calling to ask about me. They always ask, but I appreciate you all the years you've been. I can always go to you and get some wisdom and stuff, and. My main thing, like I say, the MFL is the laboratory of change. We are, the MFL is beyond the field, because what happens when you can't play this game no more? And most people want to stay around the game itself, but we have in so many different capacities, which we have. I look to Coach Lucas sometime when certain people send me their stuff. I always ask him about it, because, we don't know. Resumes are very impressive, but the person itself, what about that person? We had a lot of players calling us and stuff, but hopefully we will have it right. Like I say, my concern was they do not know what this virus is. They do not have a cure for it. And for the people that did catch it, can they catch it again? These are the things concern me as an owner of a league, and I have a great responsibility in terms of people that's a part of this and working here. They're more important than the dollar. We would like to have the money, because money is something. Hey, I can't think of what you can do, get, or go without it, but I know you can stay on earth without it. You know what I mean? These are some of the things I appreciate about Coach Lucas. I know people want to get in contact with that, like they don't know who you are, how to reach you. But if you want to just give them where you at, Coach, they should know where you at by now over there, O'Connor. But I let the coach tell you how to get in contact with him.
I'm easily accessible. Obviously, you can go through the MFL and contact Richard Miles, and he knows how to get hold of me each and every day. But I am obviously still doing my primary job over at Bishop O'Connell High School, trying to lead young men to success on and off the field. And, that's my number one task right now is try to be the best mentor, coach, role model, for lack of better words, for high school students and those beyond. So I've been very fortunate to be a part of this game for 40 plus, almost, well over 50 years now, I guess I should say. But, certainly instructionally speaking, had the opportunity for the last 30 to 33 years to really put my hands on young men and help lead them and help them do something that they enjoy doing. Because, in my mind, football is the greatest team sport in this world. So I'm going to stand by it, and I'm going to always use it as a platform to try to lead our young men and there's young ladies as well involved. There's been young ladies over the years been able to mentor and help them, whether they've been in videography, photography, or some other facet of administration. They've learned it through this great sport of football. So I'm here and certainly willing to engage in conversation with those that may have questions or concerns. But otherwise, I'm going to continue to tip my hat off to the MFL in terms of what it's doing and providing additional opportunities for young men to continue enjoying this great sport.
And like I said, I can't say enough appreciation of you. I can't think of no one I turn to the most. And the coach, you tell you, I call him so much. I know that must be Miles calling again. I always have questions and stuff because I don't know all the answers. I'll tell people in a minute, but together we can find a solution to whatever problem we may have. So I want to thank you, Coach, for coming on. And I want to say, you've been watching another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Richard Miles Sr. I look forward to seeing you Friday. Thank y'all.
Thank you,
Coach.
Me.
All right.
Thank you for having me.